My name is Justin Hudson.
And I'm Ajane Wilcoxon. One of our goals is to bring you entrepreneurs, academic instructors, classified professionals, and leaders. Today we are joined by Dr. Christy Demo, who is VP of Planning and Development here at RCC. Can we refer to you as Christy today? Do you mind?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank
cool.
you.
So, Christy, tell us, where are you from?
So I'm actually from San Jacinto, which
Oh.
is actually just right over the hill a little bit. Grew up in Hemet and San Jacinto and went to Hemet High.
Oh.
I was a community college student. I graduated from Mount San Jacinto College.
Oh.
And at that point, transitioned and went to Cal State San Bernardino. Graduated with my bachelor's in business. Whoop, whoop.
That's right.
Just saying.
Oh, just curious. Wait. What made you decide to go into business?
Both of my parents are accountants, and
wow.
my parents said, "You will get a degree in accounting."
Wow.
And I said, no, I
Yeah.
don't want to get a degree in accounting.
Yeah.
But I will go for business
Love
because
it.
business was the answer.
Yeah.
And so did that, and then had 2 kids and decided I needed to get my MBA. And so I got my MBA. And then I most recently, 3 or 4 years ago, finished my doctorate in organizational leadership.
Doctor.
Well, let's go back a little bit because I'm really impressed with this. You said you had 2 children,
I
and
did.
then you went to go get your MBA.
I did.
How was that?
You know, it was a balancing act, but I'm lucky because I have a really good support system. So my kids understood what I was doing. I think it helped me instill the value of education with them, that they could do it while working and while being a parent. You too can get your education.
Wow.
And so that made it easy for me.
Oh, so students, you need to hear that because she was able to juggle all the challenges in her life and accomplish her goals, which was go to get an MBA. And that's something that we all want you all to do.
Absolutely.
So we really appreciate you sharing that. Okay, then you said you decided to get a doctorate.
I did. I started working here at Riverside City College, and I'd already started my doctorate work, but I needed to finish. And so I lollygagged and lollygagged and lollygagged, and finally finished my dissertation. And anybody who's out there wanting to get a doctorate, the best dissertation is a done dissertation.
Amen. I agree with you 100%. Okay, so now let's go back because we want the students to know your career. I mean, what did you do when you were in high school? Did you work part-time? When you got into college, did you work? What kind of, give us kind of a feel.
When I was in high school, my parents instilled in me a really strong work ethic. So whatever I did, I needed to always be present. I needed to be on time. I needed to have that strong work ethic. And so like most folks that are in high school, I did the straw hat pizza joint. Whoop, whoop.
Yeah,
Yep,
straw hat pizza.
Straw hat
Come
pizza.
Wow.
But then I during high school, I really realized that I really needed to focus on my studies, and my parents were very supportive. So it allowed me to continue with education and that. And so then when I decided it was time to get off my butt and stop working at, fast food joints and stuff like that, I decided that I needed to get into a place where I could make a difference. And so since I graduated from Mount San Jacinto College, I decided, hey, wouldn't it be great to work there too? And so I applied for a clerk job in EOP&S.
Really?
And that was probably the best learning experience for me of my entire life.
Wow.
Why?
Because I had a gentleman who was my boss, and he kind of reminded me of Al Roker. Okay? So imagine Al Roker. Al Roker heavier, not the thin Al Roker that we currently see. But he sat with me, and he taught me so much about African American culture and music and art. And every day he sat with me and said, okay, we're going to learn something new.
Wow.
And so he really dedicated so much time for me to make sure that I understood things outside of what I knew. And which allowed me to be able to connect with our students.
Wow.
And I was lucky. I had a very supportive background and very supportive family. And a lot of our students don't have that. And so it was my job to learn as much as I could so that our students felt supported, and I knew I was doing my job and making that difference.
Wow.
So that's what I did with Mount San Jacinto College. And then as I continued to work full-time, and then I got married and had children, I realized I wanted more. How else could I make a difference? And so for the majority of my career, I actually was an administrative assistant to the vice president of instruction at Mount San Jacinto College, where I met two of the most probably influential people of my life. One, her name is Joyce Johnson, and she was not only a faculty member in nursing, but she was also the dean of career and technical education at Mount Sinai College, and she was a nurse.
Wow.
And every day I would, something would stress me out, and, every day, because that's what just happens every day. You're stressed out at something. Mm-hmm. And so she sat down with me, and as a nurse, she was a pediatric nurse that flew around. So I don't know if they're called traveling nurses or whatever. But she said to me, she says, you know what? At the end of the day, the only thing that matters is that nobody died.
Wow.
And I went, well, that's pretty powerful. So when you complain about things or you know that life is stressing you out, I always think about Joyce, and she would say, did anyone die today? And my answer was always no. And she goes, okay, well then tomorrow you dust yourself off, you get back into the groove, and you make tomorrow another day.
Wow.
And so even to this day, hopefully I'll get to send her this link because she always has such an impact on my life. But the other person, while I learned to balance and I learned about leadership, was from a gentleman by the name of Dr. Dennis Anderson. And Dr. Anderson was the vice president of instruction while I was his admin for a really long time. And he taught me about leadership, and he taught me about communication, and he taught me about lifting up your team members and lifting up those around you, because once they're their best, then my job's easy.
That's right.
So I did that, and then moved up in my career. I became the executive director of the Mount Sinai College Foundation.
Oh.
So I got a lot of experience in raising money and finding those who are dedicated to supporting community college education and our students. Then became an associate dean of curriculum and instructional support services. And then came to Riverside City College, and definitely found that Riverside City College is a God thing, and I'm pretty faithful. So applied for this job and another dean job, and didn't get a call for the other dean job, but I thought, it's all right. So I get a call for the dean of career and technical education here at Riverside. And I had an amazing first level interview. I think there were 12 people on my panel. And I walked in, not only was I late to my interview because I got lost on campus, it was like 147 degrees outside. So I had a jacket on, I had to take it off, I'm sweating, I can't find anything. And it's a Friday during the summer, I had my interview, and the college is closed on Fridays. So I couldn't find anybody to help me. So I walked around and finally found a police officer who I said, can someone tell me where this administration building is? And at that time, it was the Kane building had just been finished, and we had the Noble administration building. Well, I was at the Kane building sitting out in the sun waiting, and that wasn't where my interview was.
Oh, no.
So I finally found where I needed to go, got in there, was late to my interview, but found that every single person sitting around that panel was an amazing individual, and I couldn't wait to work with them. And they represented every division or every department within CTE. And I got in my car after my interview, and I called my husband and I said, I want to work there. I said, these are my people. I said, I want to work there. And he said, okay, well, we'll see what happens. So I get called for a second level interview. And at that time, the second level interview was with our now chancellor, Dr. Isak. And I walked in, and it was the worst experience of my entire life. And he knows this, so if he watches this, he knows this already.
Okay.
So it's okay. But I had told him, I sat there for about an hour and a half, and he grilled me. And if my answers weren't right, he'd say, nope, that's not quite right. And he'd try to correct me to make sure that I had, the right answer. And after I was done with my final interview, I got in the car, and I called my husband again. I said, absolutely not. I will not work there. Nope. Nope. If this is who my boss is, I can't do this. And again, remember, I learned different leadership skills from some amazing individuals in my career.
Yes.
So my husband says, no. Maybe he's just testing you. And I said, no, he's not. I said, no, I'm not working there. He said, okay. So about 3 days later, I had called one of my mentors, Joyce, who I mentioned earlier, and she wouldn't answer her phone.
Oh, no.
And I just wanted to talk to her. I think I needed to hear her say, well, it was bad, but did anybody die? And the answer would have been no. And she'd say, okay, brush yourself off, try again.
That's right.
And so I'm at both my kids play basketball. I'm at a basketball game, and imagine in a gym you hear the squeaky sneakers.
Right.
You can all hear that sound, right? And my phone is ringing, and it's from HR. And I thought, oh. And they had told me, we'll call you if you get it, and we'll call you if you don't. And I said, don't call me if I didn't. Just send me an email. I don't need to hear your voice saying I'm really sorry.
Right.
I don't want that. So I let her leave a voicemail because I just don't want to deal with, the negative. Yeah, I didn't want to do that. And I'm in the middle of a basketball game with my kids. And I was listening to the voicemail, and I thought, did she just say I got it? And I thought, no. So I gave the phone to my husband, who walked out of the gym, and he's like, yeah, you got it. And I went, no, come on. That was awful. Second level interview. Well, I finally got a hold of Joyce. And she says, yeah, as soon as your interview was over, he spent an hour on the phone with me and asking me questions about you because she's a reference for me.
Wow.
And he knew her. He had a relationship with her. So he knew that she'd tell him the truth. So about 2 years after this, I had some time to talk to Dr. Isak. And I said, wow, that was a terrible second level interview. And his response is, I was testing you. Did it work?
Wow. Really?
Yeah. Yep. And to this day, there's not a better man that I'd like to sit down and get advice from than Dr. Isak.
Wow. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
That's
so
amazing.
again, and then I'm, full circle. And now I'm a vice president, and I'm fortunate to be at a place I'm supposed to be with people I'm supposed to be with.
That is
amazing.
Yeah,
that's my story.
Yeah. So did you? First of all, it's an incredible story. Thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
Wasn't that incredible? Did you always think that you were going to be in education, or did you have aspirations to do other things?
I think as a little girl, I think we all go through the idea of, I want to be a doctor, or I want to be someone who's influential and makes a lot of money and all that kind of stuff. I think all of us kind of go through that in our lives. And when I started in EOPS and I worked with, my boss at that time, I realized, nope, education is where I'm supposed to be. I think I can make the biggest difference where I'm at in education.
Absolutely.
So I think that's where my heart is. I think that's where, again, I think I can make the biggest amount of difference. So, yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So I'm hearing that's where the heart is,
Mm-hmm.
and that's where I can make the biggest difference.
Mm-hmm.
Those are two key words.
Yeah. So your parents were accountants.
Mm-hmm.
So, was there ever a struggle with them trying to convince you to become an accountant, and you're like, no, I want to do it my way? How did that work?
Yeah,
out?
every day. And I'm an only child, and so it was even double down. Like it was, my dad used to bring change home, and he'd dump out a big jar of change in the floor of the living room, and he'd say, okay, we're going to start practicing counting back cash.
Oh.
Yep. And then sometimes he would bring home financial statements, and he'd say, find the error.
Oh, wow.
And so it was, and he'd give me some parameters, but he'd say, find the error. So I think it was my parents actually forcing, you like accounting, right? And I'm like, no, I don't. Do I like accounting? I do, but did I want to get a degree in it? No.
Wow.
And so it's interesting, full circle. For a while, I was also serving as the vice president of business services, which is very heavy accounting. So all that counting change and finding, doing audits in the living room actually paid off. So I have to give him a little credit.
All right, shout out to Pops.
Exactly right. Yeah, exactly right.
I love it.
Yeah.
And so even on your journey, what's a job that you would highlight that prepared you for today?
Wow. Being a mom.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow, okay.
Which is not career-based, but more
Sure.
personal-based. Because as a mom, I realized that your kids help you find balance. Even when you don't want to find that balance, they force you to find that balance. They love you unconditionally. And you learn how to multitask really well. So I think out of everything, that's probably what has prepared me for today.
Wow. So in other words, students, it's important that you become a parent. And you can get a career like you can have a career.
Yeah, that did not come out the way. No. Do it the right way. But I do have a lot of respect for those students who are parents, either single parents or navigating parenthood while also navigating career and navigating education. It's a tough journey.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
So there's some serious kudos that go out to those students that are really struggling.
Right
I know there's some kudos that go out to you, those that are really just struggling to find that balance between being a good parent and going to school and maintaining your career. It's okay to not have good days. It's okay.
One more time.
It's okay not to have good days.
Okay.
It's okay.
I'm going to remember that.
Yeah.
You have to remind me if we meet later. You have to remind me that again. Remember, it's okay not to have good days. And did anybody die today? No. Okay, good. Let's pick it up. Yep.
That's good wisdom. Wow.
It's good. And so ultimately, why higher education? Now you could have stopped with your bachelor's, you could have stopped with just your AA, but why did you continue going?
Because I saw that some of the decisions that I was making a difference for our students, and that was what was important.
Wow.
And so that's what kept me in higher ed and identifying different ways that I could make a difference in different levels of my career. And, for me, I'm also an associate faculty member in business, and being able to connect with my students in the classroom is also, it's just a gift that keeps on giving, It's really great. Yeah. And I know you both understand that completely.
Absolutely.
So, that's fine.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Now, I'll have to say this. So I have this thing now. So when my students come late to class, they have to sing a song.
Okay.
And I found out that's a way to help them get over being scared and, helps them step outside of their comfort zone.
Yeah.
So, I found a unique way to do that. But I feel like you have this unique way of connecting with your students.
I would like to think so.
Okay.
I would really like to think so.
You give off that vibe, that
energy. I would hope so.
That nurturing.
Yeah, I think that's that mom thing coming out again.
And thank you for bringing that up, because she never mentioned that she's also a teacher for us.
Yeah.
She teaches business classes for us.
Okay.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that.
I forgot to mention it too.
A jack of all trades.
I don't know about that, but
of all
okay.
trades.
There you go. I don't know.
So you've already kind of shared with us the two people who inspired you. Is there anyone else that you can say made a large impact on your life?
Probably my parents. Again, that instilling that high work ethic and understanding my limitations and being able to have the right tools to navigate life.
Wow.
Not everybody is that fortunate. And I can't say it's always been an easy ride, because I think all of us have had, ins and outs with our folks.
Absolutely.
Woo!
Yeah, absolutely.
That's true.
But, no matter positive or negative that you might have with your parents, you learn something. And you take those tools and you take those lessons and you help them navigate life, you know, whether they be good or bad. And I was fortunate. I had, very supportive folks, but
That's beautiful. Okay, so being on a community college campus and working can be very stressful.
Yeah.
And with your busyness as a VP, how do you maintain a sense of mental health balance? What do you do?
Every day it's a struggle. Every day. Do I wish that I had better advice? Sure. I think for me, it's be true to yourself. If you're true to yourself, then you're not going to worry about having to find that mental, well, you will, but it's not as hard. If you are true to yourself, then you're able to put up boundaries and you're able to say, can't do this right now. I just can't do this right now. But honestly, I struggle with that every single day.
Wow.
Every day. And so I have to remember that there's a difference between being busy. There's a difference between having things that are done, and you need to be able to decipher between, am I just doing busy work or am I actually getting things done? And so being able, again, be true to yourself, be honest with yourself. And again, I struggle with that every day because I'm a people pleaser. And so if you need something, I'll be with you. If you need something, okay, I'll do it for you. And if you need something, okay. But I need to stop and I need to remember that there is a balance. And so every day I struggle with that. Every day.
Well, that's real.
Yeah. So that's something that I need to work on, you know?
I think that's something we all struggle with.
Sure.
Yeah.
And the word you just said, being authentic or true to ourselves, that really, just to say that in our minds can give us a moment of pause that can reset.
Yep. And sometimes that's what you need. And it's okay to step away. It's okay to take a breath and say, you know what, I need some time for myself. I need to recharge. I need to find my center. That's really important. And so please don't forget to do that.
Ah, love it. Okay, so one of my favorite subjects are books. I love books. So tell our students, what is a book that you would highly recommend that they read?
So right now I'm currently reading How to Know a Person by David Brooks. And this book is really, really good. An easy read. If you're willing to take the moment and do some self-reflection, it is perfect. I would highly recommend any of our students to read it, only because it's going to help you navigate as you continue in your educational career, as you continue in your, your journey, your career journey. It's really, really helpful. It's really thought-provoking. So if you have some time, and all of the time that you don't have because you're studying and you have life, this would be a book I would recommend.
Yeah, and I'm going to concur. The book is really fantastic. You need to read it. It's really made an impact on me, and Christy and I talk about it all the time. So really check that book out.
Now, we need to know.
Yes.
Here we go.
If there was one song that you would pick that would best describe you,
just one,
and it is the theme song to your life, what song would you pick and why?
Okay, definitely be Montel Jordan.
Montel Jordan.
Yep. And This Is How We Do It.
This is how we do it.
Dun, 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 dun.
I love it.
This is how we do it. Yep. Love that song. That is. And
wow.
Most of the people on my team know that that's my song. Yeah.
I love it.
That's my song.
I love it.
That's it.
It's not even Friday night. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly,
Wow.
but it's there. Yeah.
Now, so you mentioned your babies.
Yep.
What do they think about mom and her music?
You know what's really cool? Both of my boys, who are now in their 20s, we all share very similar playlists.
Wow.
I'm a classically trained pianist, and so my playlist, if you were to ask the question, what kind of songs are on your playlist, you would find a plethora of different songs, whether it be piano concertos or Montel Williams, I'm telling you. Christopher Cross. I mean, it just is a crazy genre of different modge podge of music. And so we actually do share a lot of the same kind of likes in music, and I learn a lot from them. The Weeknd right now is huge, so yeah. So I have his songs too. Yeah.
Love it.
I like her.
This is great.
Wow. So we know your favorite song. Now, what about a word? What is one word that would best describe you?
I don't think I can do it one, so I'm gonna put two words together.
Okay.
Energetically loyal. So one, I do have a lot of energy. Yeah, I don't know how to match those better, but I do have a lot of energy. I think you guys can probably see that here, but I am fiercely loyal. And so when folks become part of my life, I am fiercely loyal to them. Sometimes that gets me in trouble, but I don't think there's anything better. So again, to be fiercely loyal is loyalty is my big thing.
Wow.
Beautiful.
I think we'll call you Captain now.
Captain. I love it.
That's great.
I love it. So our students always want to know, what is one thought or idea you'd like to share with them?
Again, be true to yourself. Find your balance. Find what makes you happy. Do what makes you happy. I know that a lot of our students are struggling to identify what it is that they want to do versus maybe some of the outward things that are in their lives that are dictating, hey, I think you need to do this. Think about me, accounting. My parents said, you will be an accountant. And I said, no, I don't want to be an accountant. And that was hard. That was a hard conversation to have with them. But be true to yourself. Find what makes you happy. Find your passion. What's the cliche? If you find something that you love to do, you'll never work a day in your life, right? And I believe it. I live that every day. And so for me, it's just be true to yourself. Find what makes you happy. Find your passion and go for it.
Oh, love it. Christy, thank you for being here with us.
Thank you for having me, both of you. This has been fun.
Really, really appreciate it.
Yeah, this has been fun. Thank you.
Thank you all for watching, and we all look forward to seeing you next week.
All right. Thank you. Bye.